Today I'm going to go through the basics of the ring strict muscle up. This is ideal for those of you that are working on your first muscle up or those of you that want to strengthen the one you have. Now, what's the prerequisites before we start working on this? We need to have some dips. So must be ring dips. So you should be able to come all the way down, touch your bicep or your shoulder to the ring, push back up again with control. Ideally, you would have multiple reps there. And we need to have ring chin-ups. Now this setup isn't ideal because I can't get the rings high enough, but ideally here, chest would be able to touch the ring at the top of your chin-ups. Then we can break down the movement into 3 different components. So we have the chin-up, the false grip chin-up. So I'm teaching today the false grip version. So my hand is on the ring. We'll go through that in a second. So 3 components would be the false grip chin-up, the transition, and the dip. So let's now look at the false grip. So we want to have contact here and then through the palm of the hand. So when I place the hand on the ring, my hand is above the ring even when I'm below the ring. So what that allows me to do is pull all the way up to the ring, transition over the top and push up. So conditioning this false grip position is really, really important for the strict ring muscle up. Now for the false grip, there's a certain amount of flexibility that's involved to get into that position. I actually struggle because all the handstands I do, and I don't spend enough time in the false grip, I struggle to hang in the straight arm position when I go into a false grip hang. So if I wanted to get better on the rings and be able to do multiple repetitions of muscle ups without struggling at the bottom to straighten the arms, I'd need to work even more on this flexibility. But this is how I'd warm up the false grip if you're not used to it. So make a real tight fist, put the knuckles together, back of the hand on the floor, and then just straighten as much as you can before the hand opens up. So I can get to about there. Ideally the arms will be dead straight. So we'll do repetitions there, making sure that fist stays really tight and the back of the palm stays on the floor. Once we've warmed that false grip up, we need to start to understand the pathway of the transition. Now I recommend you start this with toes on the floor and hardly any weight in your hands. Think about that bottom of the dip position. So I'm right on my tiptoes now, I'm in the bottom of the dip, normal hand position. And then as I rotate round underneath the rings, I start to rotate, pull them in. Notice the hands have now gone into the false grip position. And I go all the way in to bring my elbows into the top of the chin up. From here, I'm going to go back through that transition, tracing the line of the pecs through to the bottom of the dip, back to that normal hand position, back through again to the top of the chin up, making sure that I've got that strong false grip position. I've still got contact here, and then pull back again. Now we want to be able to do this multiple times just to learn the pathway. So we're just conditioning the pathway. We don't have to have loads of weight in the hands, but over time we can slowly increase the weight. It is going to hurt here. Once we understand the transition, we can start to put it together into an eccentric, but use toe assist for the transition. So top of the dip position, so your support coming down to the bottom of your dip. Now I go through that transition, but first I'm going to make sure I get tippy toes, come around, making sure I go all the way around to the top of that chin up position, still have the false grip. Now I can start to straighten the arms. Now the bottom here, this is where the flexibility becomes an issue. So turning out creates more space. I can then do the same on my tiptoes, wait for the chest to touch the ring, then do the transition through to the bottom of the dip and push back out. Next we can do the same but without the toe assist, so the full eccentric. So coming down to the bottom of the dip, making sure I make contact with the bicep against the ring, bring the rings around to the chest, going through into that false grip position, top of the chin up, coming all the way down, straightening the arms as much as you can. Now a nastier version, but one that really gets you to understand the transition and strengthen conditions that transition position. Transition position, that sounds cool. So coming down, bottom of the dip, go a little bit down, back up again. So just a yo-yo. So I'm gonna see how far I can go down and pull back again. Then we can start to work the concentric. So I'm gonna start in a partial range position. So I'm gonna lift my feet off the floor, but I'm already gonna have my arms bent. So I'm not doing the full chin up, and that will allow me to get over the rings through the transition with a little bit more power than I have to pull up from the straight arm position. So from here, up and over. Now if I have that, pretty simple, I can just start to increase the height of the rings, start to straighten the arms before I start to pull. And you could play around with that assistance. You could use a band in there, sit your butt into the band. You could have toe assist with a band. Not a big fan of the toe assist version because it doesn't teach you the seesaw. So as the shoulders come up, the legs are in that upright position and they pull around and pull you over the ring. That doesn't happen so much if the body's straight with the band. I quite like the kneeling version. So kneeling version is you turn the toes over here like this. So you can't actually push that hard off your toes through to that transition. That's a good one to get a bit of speed and momentum through, and then you can obviously decrease the amount that you're pushing with your legs. And using that seesaw type movement to your advantage, some people, if you already have things like a front lever or a good strong L-sit, will actually help you with the transition of the muscle up because it makes you turn over the rings a little bit more. So if I go more into a front lever position, take myself over the ring, that's like pulling myself backwards and pushing me over. So it's like the seesaw type movement. Shoulders are coming up and over as the legs come back and it turns me over the rings. If you have a front lever, that means it could be easier for you to get the muscle up that way, but obviously we want to try and get it with straight body in the end. I've had a few clients get the muscle up on a lower bar like this, and some of you will be training on a lower bar if you're inside in gyms or if you've got a squat rack or something that doesn't have a high bar. So you can learn the full muscle up in this variation, but you are going to need to use like a knee bend position, normally like an L-sit starting position. So that's the basics to the muscle up. Make sure you got that strong chin up, the strong transition, the strong dip. Make sure that false grip is nice and conditioned. Let me know if you have any questions and I'll speak to you next time. Thanks guys.